Hi, this is Ollie from Old Horn Tooth, and you're listening to Doom Tomb.
This is the Doom Tomb Podcast, the podcast for all things stoner, doom, and sludge. My name is Chris. I am your host, and today we have a return guest. He was last on when we interviewed the band Dear Lord, and now another project of his. So if you go to Bandcamp, the album Void Rider, it is available there. But the rest of the material, go over to Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, or check it out on YouTube. Let's get into it. This is Sheafer from Bloodshot Buffalo. Inspired by the tall trees and foggy hills of Northern California, the exhaust of a Harley-Davidson, and true heavy psychedelic groove, I'm with Sheafer, and if you're not familiar, go back a few episodes and listen to Dear Lord. Sheafer's in that band, and he is apparently in another band, and then on top of that, he's got this project, which is called Bloodshot Buffalo, and we're going to talk all about that. The latest release just came out May 23rd, and apparently I have missed out on several of his other releases, so we're going to go through a little bit of that as well. Sheafer, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
You know what it is, man. So, right out the box, let's discuss this before I forget. So I've been talking to some bands recently, and, everybody's got the itch. Everybody's like, shit, man, I just want to have a show. I want to go somewhere. I want to do something. I want to hear this. And we were talking a little bit off mic. So could you give me a little bit of the idea that you had for having a show?
In Northern California, there's a lot of lakes. There's, further north you go, there's a lot more lakes. And I always thought, there's some bands that want to play out in the desert, and, I've seen documentaries on Caius and stuff and how they did desert shows. And I was thinking, it'd be kind of cool for a lake show. It'd be really expensive, but get a pontoon boat and have a band set up on a pontoon boat, have a bunch of other boats and people on floaties and stuff. Just people would drown probably. But
there'd be several. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
You mix psych with, floating in a lake. I don't know if that would be the best idea, but it'd be pretty cool. You could even camp on the shoreline, I guess, and just watch from there if you got big enough amps.
That might work. You know what? Here's the thing. You say logistically it could be an issue. I say the idea is there. Now we just have to find the person that has the balls to do it or figure it out. There's got to be some way. And, I don't know, man, that desert generator thing, it sounds great. I don't know if I'm personally ready for it, but that's just me. I got to admit, over the past few months, whether it was talking to Dear Lord or a bunch of the other people I've been interviewing, I feel pretty comfortable right here in my house, just getting on the microphone and chatting with people. I also don't have to deal with a lot of drunk people, which is awesome.
Dude, it's so nice.
Yes, it is. So, Bloodshot Buffalo, I want to talk about this because, I listened to the latest release, Void Rider, but there's so much more. I'm going, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 other releases, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so what is... Tell me about this. What are you trying to accomplish? And because I noticed, I only saw this Void Rider on Bandcamp, but you've got the other ones on Spotify. What exactly are you doing here? So,
usually, for a while there, I was in a bad relationship, and I would come home. My favorite thing to do was just to... I'm multi-instrumentalist, so I play drums and bass and guitar, and I sing.
Right.
And whatever else instruments I can figure out on my own. And I would come home, and I knew that I had some time before my, it was a really bad relationship I was in. And I knew I had some time before she would come over, and I would try to pump out a song as quick as I could. And it started off just trying to pump out songs, and I would come home and I'd get off work. This is back when I was smoking a lot of weed. I don't smoke weed anymore because I fucking kind of freaked out. But
I got you.
I would come home, take a dab, smoke a joint, and then I'd sit and play drums for 15, 20 minutes, come up with a beat, whatever, and a few different beats, bleed them into each other, and come up with a drum beat. Then I'd come in my room, play bass over it, and then play guitar over that, add solos, and then the next day at work I'd write lyrics, and then I'd record lyrics for that song after work that day.
Right.
And it was kind of an escape, honestly. It was like a total escape, and I didn't think much of it at the time, and I showed it to my friends and stuff, and they started saying, wow, this is really good. And the funny thing is, I record everything. All my releases were recorded on my phone.
Okay.
Like, they were all recorded with my phone sitting on a drum set, just playing drums, and then I kind of balance out the EQ or whatever, and then set it up against my amp and do it like that. So none of it was done with like conventional engineering at all. It was all done on an iPhone 8 Plus.
Whoa.
So yeah, so and I use the app BandLab, so I would be able to do that and edit the track at work and whatever, and it was
sure,
cool.
Just do that at work. I got you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have some downtime, of course, but I would I'd do it like that, and basically what it became was I had these songs. I just had a stockpile of songs,
right?
And I started showing them to my friends, and they said, you should release these somewhere and come up with some name for yourself or whatever, because you could totally do something with this. And I happened to show it to Ryan, and that was before I was Bloodshot Buffalo. And we took songs that are Bloodshot Buffalo songs and started making them into Dear Lord songs. So essentially what I'm trying to do is hopefully make Bloodshot Buffalo songs into, like, upgrade them into Dear Lord songs over time. And I have a whole stockpile of 8 albums to do it with. So
you sure as hell do. Now, here's the thing. So I'm looking through all these, and you mentioned this relationship that was not really a great one. Was there a point where the relationship ended, and like, was it between a certain album?
Let me think. Before I released anything, that's when the whole breakup happened. And after the breakup, I started releasing stuff. Okay. But everything was pretty much in beta up to that point. I was just doing it because another thing that she did is she told me, oh, these aren't good enough. You shouldn't release these. And I was smoking a lot of weed, and I was just like, whatever. I was unmotivated.
Right.
And so I never released them. When we broke up, I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to see what I can do with it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, okay, let me ask you this then. Maybe this is a different question. So Void Rider was created after the breakup?
Yeah, that one was the most recent one.
The reason I'm asking, I'm trying to get a feel, because I'm going to be completely honest. I've heard Void Rider. I have to go through. I'm going to be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to be busy like a whole fucking day listening to this music, and I'm interested in, like, because you said, you're trying to bang out certain things, before she creates this anarchy or whatever she's, basically a bad mood, really.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what the difference will be between the tracks. Like, did you give yourself more space or more time, or did you try and keep yourself under the same time crunch on Void Rider?
It became kind of like I could do it quick, and then that became my my method, or whatever that word is. That became kind of like the way I would do it. Like I'm like, okay, I have this song in my head. I wasn't thinking about it up until now, and if I don't get this song out right now, it might not be a song, or I might listen to it tomorrow and think, whatever, and then another day goes by, another day, and so if I don't just pump it out as quick as possible, I can always add to it after it's finished or make it better over time. But that was kind of my creative method with everything with Bloodshot Buffalo. So,
and it's funny, people have to put this into perspective here, and I'm sure they will once they hear it. It's like you would think the way you're talking about it, these are going to be like 1.5-minute songs, and they're not. They're full journeys, really full journeys. And one of the things that really kind of caught me that was very strange. So, my dog Rufus, he had tummy trouble. I had to take him to the vet today.
Sorry to hear that.
He thank you. I think he's doing better. I think it was just a change in the food, but okay. The thing that kills me is like, my dog's a little anxious, so he sticks his head through the seats and he's just bopping around. And if I try not to take any sharp turns because, he'll topple. But he's a big boy. He's like 100 pounds. And I felt that this music, because I was listening to it on the way to the vet and back, it's very dog friendly somehow.
Really?
I don't know why, but he sat down, he laid down, and he was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna let the vibe, man, hit me.
That's a selling point, man.
Yes. Bloodshot Buffalo, dog friendly.
Yeah, no, I'm a dog person, so that's awesome.
So, now you said that you created this, in the fashion that you did, and is there any chance that you are going to play this stuff live? At Bloodshot, or maybe take it over to Dear Lord.
Hopefully I can transfer most, if not all of it, over to Dear Lord.
Right.
I like it all, obviously, but whichever ones Ryan and Matt like the most, we'll make those into Dear Lord songs. And that's hopefully how we'll do that as far as live shows go.
That's interesting, and it kind of takes out one of the questions I was gonna ask. So, when do you know what a Bloodshot song is? What do you know when a Dear Lord song is? But
that's
kind of meshing them.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. It's I'm sure that Dear Lord's going to be a lot more produced. This isn't as produced. I kind of like, when I was a teenager, I'd listen to a lot of like really old school underground. I like the underground stuff that no one's heard of. I was that guy for a long time. I'm still kind of that guy,
Yeah.
And I like you ever heard of the band Jerry's Kids?
The punk band. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Just sounds like, I love the music. The recordings sound like fucking dog shit. And I kind of like that. I'm not saying that I wanted to sound like dog shit, but it never made it so I was like, oh, the recording's bad, so I'm not going to listen to it. No, it adds character to it. It means it's real,
Absolutely.
What I like about it.
Jerry's Kids, man, I'm trying to think of a time. Was that like late 80s? Was that out in the 80s or something, or 90s? Because
let's see.
If I'm not mistaken, maybe that was around the time when like JFA was around.
Yes.
Attitude
JFA
Adjustment.
Too. Yeah, I love those bands.
Yeah.
And it was 83 is when Is This My World came out.
Yeah, okay. So I can tell you why. There's this guy, I really should hunt this guy down because I probably owe him money. His name was Dan De Los Santos. Great dude. I grew up with him in high school. And he was one of those real crusty kind of punk guys. Mm-hmm. Nicest guy in the world, but he had no trouble with instead of buying a new pair of sneakers, just put more duct tape on them. That kind of crusty guy. And he always brought and always tried to explain to me, meanwhile I'm coming in with, I just saw David Lee Roth and Cinderella at a show, and he's coming in. It's like, here, man, you got to check out JFA or whatever.
Totally.
And yeah, and I do like that. And there's a piece to this genre that needs it. You know what? I guess I would say maybe lo-fi. I don't know, but
kind of, yeah. Even that, but there's other sides to that too. Lo-fi, it never bothered me. I actually liked it. The other side of it is which, you know what, I meant to talk about this on the Dear Lord interview, but I totally just blanked on it. I like lo-fi stuff like that for its character, but the band Zeke?
Yes, I do. I saw them last time I saw him with Weed Eater.
That's rad. So Zeke, every fucking song pretty much sounds the same. And I love that. It's a formula that works. And I'm not saying that all my songs sound the same. I'm not saying that my songs are meant to sound like dog shit, but those are things that never bothered me. It's like, as long as I like my music, that's really what matters to me. Like, really, because I'm not, like you said, why is your, you asked why my music isn't all on Bandcamp. I'm not trying to make money off of all of it. I honestly have it on Spotify because I have Spotify, and then I can listen to it and show it to my friends.
Hey,
it's, but what I meant to say about, like, in the last interview we did is a really influential album to me was AC/DC Live at Donington.
Okay.
And the reason it was influential to me is because it was the first album that I liked at a very young age that I knew that I could play. I could learn it and play it and understand it as a musician. And that's what got me into, I can play that drum beat. I can play that bass line. I can learn that solo. I can learn that guitar riff. And that was so huge to me. I think a lot of people get totally, down on themselves when they try to learn an instrument because they're trying to learn fucking Dream Theater, or they're trying to learn like some crazy shit or like sweeping solos and like, oh shit, I can't sweep, so I can't play guitar. Like,
right.
I don't know. I think that's a huge thing with musicians. Like, if you want to be a multi-instrumentalist, listen to music or just play any instrument. Listen to music that you feel like you could play, and you might find something in it if you try,
Yeah, nobody has to be Danny Carey like right off the bat.
No, and some people are. Some people are just prodigies.
Yeah,
but it's like not everyone is like that. So that's fine.
All right. Well, and speaking of AC/DC, because this was something that I've been crowing about for years, and finally, somebody that's way more famous than I'll ever be, Dee Snider from Twisted Sister said this. We need to start a petition before AC/DC hangs it up for good. One time, they need to play at the Super Bowl halftime show.
I would love to see that.
I mean, think about it, dude. They don't have to. They just go through, here's a half a dozen songs that you hear anyway in a stadium, and we're going to play every single, and every beat, every hit. I'm telling you, it would be phenomenal. But, of course, we have to go with something that's, a little more poppy or whatever, or what's popular.
Yeah. It's, I mean, you would hear all those songs at a game anyway, or, literally any stadium anyway. You would hear, Hell's Bells, but
Thunderstruck, Back in Black. You shook me all night long.
Exactly.
TNT.
Yep. Yeah, you will hear all those songs, and it won't really do anything. But if you see it live, I never saw AC/DC live. I never have. So, that was one of the first bands I ever got into as far as rock goes. But like, if you see it live, I imagine it'd be totally different.
Yeah, there is nothing like seeing AC/DC live as soon as they go into either Whole Lotta Rosie or Let There Be Rock. I mean, Let There Be Rock is like...
It's my favorite song.
I get chills, man. And it's so freaking good. And, and it's not a disrespect to Brian Johnson at all, but Bon Scott, man. I don't know. There's something about that bluesy... There was... It was right before... AC/DC had a live show or a live concert. I think it was on MTV or something. And it was at Joe Louis Arena. And before the show, you just saw Angus just noodling. And it sounded like just straight up blues. And just, that's it. And I was like, man, that's all that is, that AC/DC is, huh? And I said, basically, it is. Yeah. So
exactly. Yeah. And you hear that as you're already learning blues scales as a young musician. Right. And then once you apply that to like a little bit of drop tuning, it's not like drop. I don't know what exact. I learned the riffs, but I never really learned exactly what tuning they play in. But I know it's a little lower than standard. But once you learn that and you apply it to literally just a Marshall with distortion and play it and speed it up a little bit, it's blues.
Straight
just
up.
Like, So it's cool to know that you can play something.
Oh, hell yeah, it is. Now, I'm looking at the previous releases, and there's some different photos and et cetera, more on the motorcycle bent, I guess you could say, or the chopper bent. Now, the latest Void Rider looks like you had an illustration done. You know what? I'm going to take a guess in my head. Can you tell me who did the illustration? We'll get right back into the interview in just a minute, but first, we have to talk about fuzzy cracklins. And what is the Swamp Crew? In the mail, I just got the August edition of the Swamp Crew News. Now, what is that? Well, let me explain. You know, we all want to support the bands that we love, and a great way to show your support is to get in the Swamp Crew. Join the CD of the Month subscription at The Swamp Records, and each month you will get an exclusive CD from a heavy underground band, along with stickers and over 125 digital albums on Bandcamp. Bands like Green Hug, Lunar Swamp, Grave Disgrace, and so many more. Join this month to get a Doom Tomb sticker, and also, your first month is free. Get in the Swamp Crew, and every month you'll be supporting the music you love. Go to theswamprecords.com/doomtomb to get your free CD and your Doom Tomb sticker.
It's going to take a second to pronounce his name.
Okay, then it's not him. Okay.
Because it's Angasa. I think it's Anggasa.
Okay.
I think he's from the Philippines or Indonesia.
Right.
I don't remember where he said he was from, but killer work, dude. He hit me up and he's like, yeah, like if you ever need any artwork done, let me know. And it was on Instagram, and yeah, guy's really cool too. Super nice guy. I totally recommend him.
And it totally fits. It really does. Yeah. So let's go into some of this. So, you know, when you'd say, whatever, it's not as produced or what have you. Here's the thing that I got out of this, out of the release. It's made to be listened to nonstop. Like I want you to experience the entire thing, because it reminds me in a way of like Jane's Addiction or Tool. Maybe not so much in the musical style, but in the idea that if you just hear one song. Now, by the way, there's more Jane's Addiction tracks than Jane says. Go fucking find it, all right? Because it's great. They put out some incredible music that was like genre breaking.
Totally.
But you felt like you had to listen to the entire album to get the message. And that's kind of what I was feeling with this, really. And it's funny because I felt some different things as I was listening to it. The one thing that kind of carried me through the each track was these are like songs that are going through the mind. Like some songs you just like, oh, there it is, and I'm enjoying it, and it's right out in front of me. But you know, something like this, it's where like definitely I want to put my headphones on. I want to get through this and actually not just listen, but experience it.
Totally. That's awesome, man.
So, let's start out with Void Rider. You've got, by the way, at that 350 mark, that fucking solo. Damn, brother. But
Thanks,
I'm trying to figure out, like every once in a while, I say, like, does this sound like something that I know? I felt, and you probably not heard this one, that there was almost like some kind of rapping style, like what I would consider like old Suicidal, like Join the Army kind of.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I was feeling. It's the first thing that hit me off the bat. And of course, throughout the, each track, you have this kind of distorted type of vocal that I believe if it was a cleaner vocal, it would have been a song that I would be listening to and looking at. With the distorted vocal, I now feel like it's in my head. So
that's awesome.
What can you tell me about Void Rider?
Void Rider, I wanted to write a song. I really like coming up with little I don't know, just imaginative stories of weirdness, I guess. I don't know. I you said like my other albums are like on the chopper and all that. Those are pictures with me with my bike. I just figured I'd have an album cover be me on my bike.
There you go.
And for this one, I wanted to like actually paint a picture of a person. Like, I don't know. I always pictured like, man, how cool would it be to ride a fucking Harley in space? You know, like I'm sure I'm not the only one that's thought of that. I'm sure that's a whole thing through the 70s, 60s, 80s, 90s, whatever. People have been thinking about that for decades, but
absolutely.
I just wanted to write a song about it. Like, you're riding on the rings of Saturn kind of thing, and you drop down and land on like the rocky outer shell of a asteroid or whatever. I don't know. I thought I'd try to paint that picture with the heaviness of it, the same way there's like heaviness of a rumble of a Harley and space, and I don't know. It's just a feeling I have, I guess, and I wanted to kind of paint it.
Yeah. Now, before we continue, because a lot of this seems to be around that similar theme. How long you been riding?
Man, I've been riding now for 5 years, something like that. And I think about 5 years, yeah.
Okay.
6 years.
All right. Now, you're right. Now that I look at the photos, I do see the same bike. So, is that the bike you still have?
That is the bike I still have.
And what is it?
That is a Harley Sportster 883 XL. It's not, I changed the oil on it, and that's about it.
Right.
But there's some things I need to fix on it. But I like having kind of I used to go on runs with clubs and stuff like that. And we'd go around Sonoma County, and that was a lot of fun and all that. But my bike kind of underwent my personality change with me.
Okay.
It used to look a lot more club style, had the big bubble fairing on it and everything. It had a big Dyna tank on it. And I changed it up as I started making more music and not hanging around with those guys.
Right.
And I wanted to make my bike look like a 70s chopper, but it's a 2004 Sportster,
Well, you know what? Yeah, times change, attitudes change, ideas change. Absolutely, man.
Totally.
So let's go into this, because you mentioned this for the previous track. So, Ritual on the Outer Rim. So are we still kind of riding through space? Yeah.
I just figured there's like maybe if you want to think of it in the way of riding your bike through space, and you land on some distant moon, and there's a cult on that moon doing, extraterrestrial rituals. That's what it's about.
And there's something to that, because, I'm not a rider. I don't know how to really. Maybe someday I'll learn. I don't know. I don't really feel like riding bitch anytime soon. But, by the way, 3:45 mark for this track. If you don't know, Ritual on the Outer Rim, bravo, brother. That 3:45 just fucking nails it and kicks in. So what I'm getting, it reminds me, the closest thing I have is when I was powerlifting and lifting very heavy. I could be in the gym and lifting, and I lost myself. I forgot everything that was around me. I heard no music. I heard nothing but that. And like the chopper is like, akin to the weights of like, you're just feeling it, and you've got this. It's just this energy, man. It's really
hard to explain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's hard to explain.
I guess I just got to get on one and ride.
Yeah, I totally suggest you get on a bike someday, man. It's hypnotic. It's totally hypnotic.
As long as the bikes don't have a weight limit, because I'm a large man. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, dude, have you seen people? Have you seen guys that ride like Harley baggers? Come on now.
Yeah, I have. Look, hey, I saw the movie Stone Cold. I saw those people. I know it. Did you ever see that movie?
No.
Oh my God! Do you want to see a cheesy early '90s movie? Stone Cold. Brian Bosworth was the star, and it's the idea like one of the chapter, this bike chapter is getting they're in bad dealings, a little like borderline mafia kind of stuff, and they're getting into selling meth and all this crap. Some really big stars like you wouldn't expect, but I'm telling you, man, it is so cheesy. All right, so he's a cop, Brian Bosworth, and his name is Joe Huff as a cop, but when he goes to be a prospect, he's John Stone.
Oh, my God.
Oh, dude, please, just go find it, man. You're going to laugh your ass off because, like, anybody that knows the true culture, either you're going to say, oh, I identify with that, or that's complete horseshit.
Yeah, that's how I felt watching Sons of Anarchy. I was never in a club, but hanging around with clubs, I watched Sons of Anarchy. I'm like, it's not a drama.
It's not at every turn there is not some kind of a turmoil going on.
Yeah, I noticed when I did see Sons of Anarchy, like anything would happen and Jax would be like, Jesus Christ, and he would say that over and over, Jesus Christ, and I don't know, man, like it just seemed forced. It seemed like, I don't know, he was always surprised with how shitty his life was. I'm like, that's not how club guys are usually. They're kind of, I don't know, it's not a drama. It's not a, I don't know, but I get you.
All right, so let's move forward here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know. Okay, so Cult Within the Mind. This is where, in getting your ideology between the first few tracks. So now I think we're still kind of around the space area, because I got some hints of Pink Floyd. I got some hints of what I would say is Elder, and
awesome.
Now you got those two. So between all that, I still felt a Helmet vibe.
That's awesome.
Okay, what can you tell me about that track?
It's actually not about space. What that song's about is, if you looked at like Your Emotions, kind of like Cult members, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The lyric is "Master of the cult within your mind," and if you look at your emotions like cult members and you govern them as a cult member would govern his cult,
right?
That's essentially what I'm trying to, you govern them, you make them do what you want them to do.
Gotcha.
You make your emotions work for you, and you govern them. You keep a handle on them, and you have to be the master of your own mindset, the master of your own set of emotions, and not lose yourself, and keep a control over who you really are. That's what that song's about.
I'm gonna have to re-listen to that, because I think, quite honestly, the first two tracks, they got me in the space. I'm sorry, they did. And now it's like, now I'm stuck here in my head. I'm stuck in my emotions. So thank you for that. Yeah. I appreciate that. Now we go into the next track, Realm, which speeds up quite a bit, and I think it's one of the shorter tracks on the album. What can you tell me about Realm?
So Realm, that's basically that's about space. It goes back into space.
Fair enough.
More interdimensional.
Okay.
But you go. The song "Into the Beam," Dear Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, no, not Into the Beam. Which one was that? Oh no, that's our. That's a new Dear Lord song. We have a Dear Lord song, Dark Matter. That's the one that we sent you.
Yeah.
And the lyrics for that are kind of similar to this one, but space crew gets lost in space. The one we sent you didn't have any lyrics yet. We haven't recorded them yet, but
right.
Space crew gets lost in space. They go into a different dimension, basically.
Okay.
And that one's pretty straightforward. Space crew gets lost, goes into a new dimension.
Okay. Now,
pretty much.
We're going to go into an instrumental. So we got Valley of Echoes.
Yeah.
And when I first, when it starts off, I don't know where I am in it, because there's a part of me that's really nervous about what's going to happen next in the song, but another part that's really blissful about it. Like, is this, I feel like, am I supposed to be kind of carried away in the song, or is this one just kind of, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, basically. Really interesting that you go from Realm to Valley of Echoes. So I guess the question is, as we're going down, did you create this order intentionally, or?
Kind of. When I had finished the previous album to this one, which was Compass Sessions, that one's an all-instrumental album.
Right. And
Compass Sessions was, it's called Compass Sessions because whenever I would drive north, I would feel a certain way. Mm-hmm. And then that's where the song North was. East, I feel a certain way. Southwest. Every song embodies the vibe that I get when driving that direction.
Okay.
And I was going in that direction, and I was thinking, like, maybe I should do another instrumental album. And halfway through creating that song, I wanted to make it super psych, really psychedelic, give it that kind of feel. And so I went with that, and then I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna totally do the whole album as like the best Doom that I've released so far. Nice. Like total Electric Wizard worship kind of stuff. And but I wanted to keep something in there from my previous idea of an instrumental.
Right. And
that's the only song, one of the only songs I've released that has acoustic guitar in it.
Yeah.
And that's because I had started like incorporating that. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. You can totally incorporate that into this kind of music. And
sure. It's
kind of cool to chill out after 2-3 songs, 4 songs of, heaviness,
Yeah,
chill
absolutely.
out and then come back in. Because at the end of that song, it comes in with like a kind of like a spaceship sound, and it goes into the spaceship sound of the next one.
It's we've talked about it before on a podcast, like a palate cleanser, kind of, just
totally.
to give you a little break. I mean, shit, that would happen at a concert anyway. It's like
exactly.
So okay, so we go into Dark Watchers. Got this like crunchiness to the beginning of it, this chunkiness, and I'm curious because I was looking online, as I do, YouTube or what have you, and there was I'm blanking on the name right now. It'll probably come to me when we're done. Something Hills. I saw this band, and the guitarist took out his jack and played the jack.
That's rad.
It was unbelievable to me. Now, I did see somebody recently that they had the jack connected to a balloon, and the balloon was connected to a rubber band that was connected to his finger.
I saw that on, what page was that, Weedian?
Yeah, it was on the Weedian page too, yeah.
Okay, I saw
and I'm
that.
like, okay,
So cool.
We can
so
go.
So fucking cool.
Yeah. Do you ever toy around with that kind of stuff?
When I used to get stoned in my room with my friends, we used to, I remember for like 2 hours straight one time, my buddy Jake and my buddy Kyle and me, when I had just gotten the Canyon, the EHX Canyon,
right.
That shit has crazy controls on it for weird sounds like that. And if you're looking for a pedal that does that kind of shit, where you can play a jack, you can totally do it with that pedal. And we sat there for a good 2 hours playing the jack, and just like we would touch it, and we were all stoned, just like staring at the jack, like poking this shit, and then like fucking with the knobs and everything. And it was, it's rad, dude. It's actually kind of fun when you're super stoned, at least.
Yeah, please. And again, record. Always record. Always hit the record button.
Yeah, exactly.
So what can you tell me about Dark Watchers?
Dark Watchers, it's a California folklore actually. It's based on this California folklore of Spanish settlers. There are these entities in the mountains. I think it's in Central California, maybe Southern California area. But travelers in the mountains have seen these shadows of silhouettes of people where they look once and they see like this silhouette watching them, and they look away and then they look back and it's like a tree, but they swear it was a person.
Interesting.
So that's what that's based on. It's basically a woman walking through the mountains and being stalked by the Dark Watchers.
Okay, so not quite a like, what is that guy? The Slender Man kind of thing?
Yep.
Like kind of a vibe like that?
Kinda. I mean, I don't think it's as sinister. I think it was more, I think the way that it was told is they were more, I could be wrong on this, but they were more like protectors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like they were like watching, just making sure you got through the valley safe. I could be wrong on that, but
that's okay. I'm open to people being wrong on this place, in this podcast. Yeah. But we'll always fix it, of course. So, totally. Mortal technology. We got, again, I'm a sucker for getting that pinpoint down, that 325 mark when you just go off, man. Now, what I got out of that personally, that was the hardcore breakdown for me, man. Like where you're like that whatever people do in the whether it's the helicopter at the hardcore show or the garbage picker, windmill, maybe even a spinning kick. I'm gonna go for it.
Makes you want to throw down. Totally.
Yeah. So what can you tell me about Mortal Technology?
That's a song about humanity going to a different planet again. There we go again. Mm-hmm. But humanity going to a different planet and being met by extraterrestrial life, gods, whatever, on another planet that are way stronger than humanity. Mm-hmm. And they essentially get beat because humanity thinks, we think we're the strongest ones. We think obviously we think that. A lot of people don't think there's anything out there. But there could be something out there, and there could be something out there that's way more powerful than us. So it's like, that whole puny humans, kind of thing.
Exactly.
We get there with our multi-billion-dollar technology and everything, and it might not even measure up to whatever's out there.
That's true. So, there's a lot of things on this release that go around space.
Yes.
And I'm interested, like, is there any plans? Like, do you think of going out to space anytime soon? Like, space, huh? Man, I don't know what I was getting at. Well, I guess we'll hear about it at the end of this message from Mucho Printing, Great Electric Quest, Gygax, Heavy Velvet, Sabbath Buddy Sabbath, and gosh, who knows how many more bands. Take it away, Mucho.
Yeah, hey, what's up, big dogs? This is Mucho Drums here to tell you a little bit about my new company, Mucho Printing. Now, I played in multiple bands for several years, and I know how important it is to leave your mark after any show. Even before hitting that first note, you want the crowd to know who you are and remember who's responsible for the sore necks the next morning. Presentation is an important factor in any band's mission to the top, and that's where we come in. Fully printed backdrops, removable bass drum covers, mesh cab covers, flags. These are just a few products that we can offer to you. We're based out of Los Angeles, California, and can ship anywhere in the United States. More importantly, our goal is to help promote bands off the stage as well. With every order, we'll post pictures of the prints, along with info about the band and any other advertisements you'd like us to include. Please check us out on Instagram and Facebook by searching Mucho Printing. Send us a message for any details. Hope all of you are staying safe, strong, and powerful out there. And remember, you win some, you lose some, but nothing beats getting some. Cheers, my friends.
Here's what I mean by that. It's not. I'm not trying to be goofy about it, but totally. So Tony, this band member from the band Deserts of Mars, he turned me on to NASA, where you can sign up to quote unquote be on the next launch.
What?
For whatever it is. And I apparently I was on a launch recently, and I developed my miles, whatever it is, a couple million miles or whatever. And
Wow.
I just thought it was an interesting thing. Like, you get this, you put your name in and everything, and it goes on the list, and you're basically on a boarding pass of sorts. It's something different. It's very geeky, but I don't know.
What do you? So you sign up and you're like,
yeah,
it's like a shot you watch or what?
Well,
how's it? What do you? I'm confused.
I'm looking here right now. So I went on to the site and I linked up, and then you put in your information. It says, okay, you're gonna go out on this mission, and like I have one scheduled for, I think 2026, which is a ways away. I'm looking right now. Okay, let's see. Okay, so send your name to Mars. It's www, obviously, mars.nasa.gov, and first name, last name, country, postal code, email, and then send my name to Mars. So you get a boarding pass.
Shit.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a link.
You gotta send me a link to that shit, dude. I'll send the album up there.
That would be awesome, man.
Yeah, that's really cool, dude. I've never heard of something like that.
And again, I as I talk about it, it's like, it's kind of geeky, but you know what? It's fun.
I mean, I have a star named after me. My sister's named a star after me, and that shit's cool, dude. Whatever.
I was thinking about that. Yeah, I've thought about that.
Time capsules are cool, and naming stars after you are cool. Like, all that shit's cool, dude. That's right.
It's fun. So okay, let's see. Let's go down to the next track. New Invasion. We got a little bit faster. If I was to say, this is a very accessible track. What can you tell me about New Invasion?
That's about coming down, an extraterrestrial life coming down to Earth, and like, or no, sorry, I was thinking about a different song. New Invasion, that one's about us going and taking resources from another planet. Okay, essentially, that's the one of the lyrics is "New invasion of a new planet. We won't leave this place empty-handed." Another journey to another star. Without this space dust, we wouldn't get this far. So it's like, I guess contractors taking drugs and exploiting other planets.
Very nice. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, we do it on this Earth. Why not? Somewhere else, I guess.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, it's wrong, but it does happen. We do it.
Humans do that shit. Yeah.
Yes, we do. Yeah. There's a lot of that garbage going on, and you know what? It's funny because I've reached out to some people recently that wanted to get more involved with the podcast, and it's like, thank you. Because it wasn't about a greed thing. It was about like further advancing and actually helping each other in the community instead of taking something.
Totally. Giving
each other something. And it was really great. Mucho from the Great Electric Quest, he has Mucho Printing, and also Fuzzy Cracklins, that they have this incredible subscription thing through the swamprecords.com. So, okay, let's move forward. So the last track, Stardust, a lot of different directions. I'm curious about this because it feels a little more on the experimental side. Again, comes back. I got a little bit of the swerve, a little bit of the expansiveness of like a Jane's Addiction, but then you come in with a punch that's like a Rage Against the Machine type punch. And it is Stardust a shape of things to come for the next release?
I wanted to do, it's funny, this album, I wanted to do an album that's kind of organized a certain way so that, like you said, you could listen to the whole thing all the way through. Right. My other albums, pretty much, with the exception of maybe a couple like Compass sessions and maybe Purple Acid, I wanted to make a song, an album you could listen to all the way through, and it was like set up like you got this track that kicks ass, kind of slows down, keeps kicking ass, and then an outro of another instrumental that kind of like lays it to rest.
Right.
Not lays the project to rest, but lays the album to rest. It's like you came to the end part, you know?
Yeah,
it's
you're finally landing.
Yeah, exactly. A true outro.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to do with that. What's to come, I'm not entirely sure, because now that I have all this stuff released, I realize, damn, I released all this shit in like a little over a year. All these albums have been released in a little over a year.
That was going to be my next question.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and first off, thank you for going over track by track. I know sometimes it's a little tedious, but
That's fine.
So, you know, with all these releases, now maybe some of them can be fleshed out a little bit and made into like a Dear Lord track. Does that mean like Void Rider will be the last for a while? We're gonna put that, you know, lay Bloodshot down for a little bit to see what you can pick from these to make a Dear Lord track?
I'm thinking of going one of two directions. The first direction being that, you know, like just giving it a break for a second. But the other one is, since I met Matt, and since Matt joined Dear Lord, he's kind of turned me on to the possibility of upgrading my recording setup and doing all that, and focusing on learning how to actually engineer an album the way that we're doing it with the Dear Lord album, where it's all DIY.
Right.
But yeah, that's, you know, if it's DIY and we can make the Dear Lord album sound the way it sounds for this new release we're going to come out with, if we can make it sound that way and do it on our own, it's just about buying equipment and learning how to use it. And that's kind of what I want to shoot for, if I can.
Yeah, and you know, of course, it takes money. Of course.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
And time to learn how to use, you know, any whatever recording setup you use. You got to learn how to use it. And I've been using my fucking phone, so you know, it took me years to learn that to get to a confident point. So this might be a little quicker if I learn a new setup and get a new setup, the Studio One, but we'll see.
We're all there, you know. It's I do this every once in a while. Like, my wife goes to sleep, and I go out and read. I'm trying to get through this book. I swear, I can read a few pages, and then I'm like, I'm just going to lay it down. I almost don't want it to end. It's called Doomed to Fail, and it's the history of doom metal.
Sick.
So I like reading like a chap, like, because he breaks it down. JJ Anselmi, he breaks it down into you know, this is going to be about this band, and this is about this band, and it's just enough of a taste so I get my beak wet and I could just shut it down a little bit. So I was on YouTube, of course, YouTube rabbit hole, and I put on some of my old episodes. Oh man, so cringeworthy, and you know, it brings me back to like exactly what you said. Like, it took me 2+ years to suddenly figure out, oh, I can add that and make that sound a little bit better. Holy shit, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If I just would have taken the time, but you know, it's like you get so eager. It's like, I got this thing, I want to do it, and you know, I've talked to other people that say, dude, I would never put a podcast out right away because like I want to make sure it sounds perfect. And I was like, I'm going back now to Jerry's Kids, JFA. I don't care if it's fucking perfect right now. I just want it out. I want. This is music I love. I want people to hear about it. Period.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry if it doesn't sound perfect. I'll get better. You know, and so I punched some stuff up, and it's increased. Whatever. It's what is it? What do they say? Progress, not perfection. You know what I mean?
Well, and there's a lot of components to that too, because sometimes there's like a little, you know, like right after my shitty relationship, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and it was like my little, you know, window of opportunity where I'm really driven to do this, and I know I love doing this. It brings me a lot of happiness, and I really don't care who doesn't like it. Everyone that I talked to liked it, so maybe I should put it out because I really like it. And it brings me a lot of joy. And it's like, you know, there's a lot of bands that start out, you listen to most bands, the first album doesn't sound as good as the next one. And then they progressively get better, hopefully. And it's like a lot of bands, like if they didn't drop that album that sounded like fucking dog shit, you never know who's going to like it. And
right.
if someone, if you're hesitating and, I don't know, and I want it to sound like this, and this, and I have OCD about, how I want things to be and how things to sound, be my best. And that's great. If that's your method of, your art, then that's awesome. But, sometimes you just got to put it out there and get your name out there a little bit first, and
right.
then get better,
Yeah, totally agree. And we're kind of in it together, man. So
totally.
that kind of concludes what I wanted to talk about for the Dear Lord Bloodshot connection. But it's funny. I was interviewing Zach from Who to a Kill, and he had a question, and I'm terrible at this. I keep going back and forth with forgetting to talk about that and talking about it. So here, I'll just set it up. It was kind of a BS question, but he's like, so what are your plans on touring? Which I know we can't do that right now. So let's talk a little bit, because I know Bloodshot's a solo deal, and then Dear Lord is a group deal. And I know the pontoon thing, that's always an option, I guess.
Yeah. Totally.
So over in California, what are you hearing? What are the rumblings about shows? Are people still nervous about it, or are they getting a little bit itchy? Or
someone said in our local scene was asking about how do people feel about going to shows, and if there was a show in 2-3 months, would you go?
Right.
And most people said no. Most people were like, no, not really. Like, I don't want to be in a room. If you've been to any fucking metal show or punk show, you go home with other people's sweat on you. Like, no, I don't really want to do that. Like,
oh yeah.
So, I mean, it sucks. It fucking sucks that we have to wait it out, and we don't know how long we have to wait it out for, but it seems to be the general consensus that not a lot of people want to go be a part of shows right now. It's just kind of pointless. Like, you got to kind of, like, my roommate just moved out, and we're going to set up our garage. Well, it's actually already set up, but we're going to set it up to do really nice live streams.
Mm-hmm.
And be able to put those out as Dear Lord progresses until this is over.
Sure.
And you have to evolve with the times, and what the times are right now is some fucking bullshit where we can't go out and tour and stuff. So you got to create something engaging for your audience.
That's exactly it. And even on social media, I've thought about it, and I'm thinking about creating a post on social, because it's so many bands that come through Arizona, and even the local bands here that reside here. I'm like, dude, I got all this material. I got hours and hours of video from different bands. It's like, if you want, I'll send it to you, just so you have something to put up on social, because I see some people that have just, they've been dead on social, and people will remember, but after a while, it's nice to say, oh, don't forget, like I'm still here.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you guys are doing that. Do you have a completion date, or are you just kind of like, you figuring it out as it goes along?
Kind of figuring out as it goes along. We still got to do vocals and a couple other tweaks to a couple songs, and we're shooting a music video in 2 weeks for Dear Lord, and that's going to be real fun. We have we got an 800-watt strobe light for it. So we're gonna do some cool stuff, or hopefully do some cool stuff. But something to add to what you were saying.
Yeah.
One of the things that a lot of musicians and a lot of, I listened to that one podcast you had with the Stoner Witch Records chick,
Miss Melissa, yeah.
Yes, yeah. And like having bands on, having people like her on, that's like all we can do right now.
Yep.
Other than live streams. So it's like, it's a perfect time for people like you to get your name out there, which helps us. And we, like you were saying, we help each other. And like, that's one thing is like podcasters and people that promote and, stuff like that, it really, really helps. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. And I was kind of shocked the other day. I did an interview, and at the end, the band told me, "Oh, by the way, this is the first interview we've ever done." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Really?" And they just crushed it this month on the Doom charts, real
That's
high
awesome.
rating and stuff. And I wish them the best. And the other piece to it is, like, I'm so used to going to shows and seeing people live that when I get to talk to some other people, this is giving myself an opportunity as well, because, like, I'm talking to people in England, in China,
Yeah.
in Denmark, whatever, in Sweden, and I don't know, man. It's like anything else, it brings a community together. Hopefully, all this stuff will change, but I just don't know when. But
Totally.
okay, so just so people know, Void Rider is on Bandcamp it's Bloodshot Buffalo is the name of the band, a solo project, but then you have all this other material on Spotify. And where else can we find it?
YouTube, Apple Music, Pandora. Where else? What's that one? That Napster, the one that Lars Ulrich hates.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That one, yeah.
You can find it on pretty much any streaming service. I wanted to make it totally accessible. Like, I mean, it's awesome that people want to buy it. A lot of people have reached out to me for merch, and they want to buy the album and all that, and that's been awesome. But I'm putting it out there so people can listen to it. That's the main thing. It's like it's not about. It's really not. This project is really not about money to me. It's not, something that I'm investing a lot of money in. It's all done on my phone. It's done with the equipment that I have, and it's done just to display what I like. So that's why it's not all on Bandcamp, if anyone wonders.
So basically, get your asses over to Spotify. I know I'm a little rusty on Spotify. I still go to Bandcamp and buy my stuff, or wherever I can find my music. I'm staring at a stack full of LPs right now that I need to take pictures and put on social media. So, Sheafer, thank you so much for your time, as always. Carte blanche, man. Come back anytime. We would love to have you.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you, man.
Thank you, and best of luck with setting everything up to do the live performances for Dear Lord.
Thank you so much, dude.
Thank you, Sheafer, for your time. Really appreciate it, and we will be talking to you again really soon. Have a few quick other announcements. Don't forget, craniumradio.com, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's the Doom Tomb, all the music you know and love. I'm hosting it, so kick back on a Sunday and enjoy. Also, I have a big cartel page that I threw up. Have some koozies, some dugouts, some banners, and some t-shirts from Planet Mammoth. Head over to doomtomb.bigcartel.com and pick up whatever you want. Also, if you need to reach us, doomtombpodcast@gmail.com and across social media at doomtombpodcast. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Until that time, next time, meantime, and in between time, take care of yourselves, stay healthy, and above all, don't forget to stay heavy. Oh, hey, I really thought you guys would have left by now. Okay, well, since you're still here, thanks for hanging out all the way, and I mean all the way, to the end. So in doing that, I guess I might as well tell you the stuff that's coming up. I don't think you're going to want to miss any of them. There is a band out of Italy that, I reached out to them a little bit ago, and I think it's time. We're going to interview the band Tenebra. I hope that's how it's pronounced, Tenebra. That's going to be coming up next week. Also, Eye of Doom is going to be coming up. They have a release coming out very, very soon. But, this week, I've got some other people lined up. We're going to hear from the record label Fuzzy Cracklins and talk about the beginnings and anything else we can get our minds talking about, I guess. Then I also have an interview set up with Isaiah Mitchell. Yeah, that guy. You know who he is. If you don't, check it out. Figure it out. Also, gonna have on the man himself, David Paul Seymour, illustrator to more bands than I care to count. Then we'll have another interview with the band Turkey Vulture. And we've got a few other ones that I'm waiting on. And, one guy that hopefully will get on this week, I'm not going to mention it yet because I haven't quite got it confirmed. But if we do, it's going to be fucking huge. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Thank you for your continued support. Take care of yourselves. We'll talk soon. The band Ash Eater out of Portland, Oregon is up next. You'll hear me kind of screwing up the different Ash Eaters. Yay. Look at me doing research on the wrong band that I don't know, it's just the way it goes some days. Also, recently confirmed, we just need to get a day in time. The band Foster Mother will also be interviewed very, very soon. All right, I swear, that's it. I'm out. Later.